now get to welcome someone I've only met recently, but he has done so much more than one thing. Yitz Greenberg is a legend in the Jewish rabbinic community. He is a scholar of Judaism, a person who has spent his career not just advancing the understanding of his own tradition, but broadening and reaching out to other traditions. As I see it, Yitz, you are a symbol of a man who's firmly planted in his own world, in his own space, in his own understanding, and yet radically open to others. We are so proud to have you and would love to hear your thoughts at this moment as we try to move to a new story of uniting.
Thanks so much for inviting me, Tim. The answer, of course, is that this is the essence of humanity, to love, to know, to meet others, and yet it's been a remarkable period, and of course we're living through a period of great crisis. I want to make one simple comment. I'm joining you now after celebrating a Shabbat in Jerusalem, and I love Sabbath day in Jerusalem. It's always peaceful and spiritual, but this one, in fact, the most recent month, has been totally unlike every other Sabbath day for the last 3,000 years in Jerusalem. And the reason is simple. Jerusalem is holy to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And yet, during this Shabbat, not one synagogue, not one church, not one mosque was open and having a group religious experience.
Wow.
That is the kind of invasion of our life and of our community that the coronavirus has done. That having been said, what I love about Call to Unite and what inspired me to want to join you was the fact that I see this as a kind of a rallying the spirit of humanity. We've been pushed into our homes, we've been intimidated and threatened and suffered death and suffering, and yet we respond with rallying the spirit. We don't give in, quite the contrary. And in fact, I love beyond it, I feel this is our way of saying we shall overcome. Even this moment, humanity has gone through crises before. We shall overcome and come out on the other side stronger than ever. So in fact, I kept saying to myself, what can I do to contribute or participate? I wish I could sing better or do other things better, but thinking about it, I had one thought, which was I'd love to share a bit of wisdom from my own tradition that I think really is about God and us, about how we deal with each other and with this dread disease, if I could. Because the truth is, in a moment like this, facing death by coronavirus squad concentrates the mind religiously. Google reported that during this month of March, as it spread throughout the world, the COVID-19, that search for prayer, for prayers for God, skyrocketed. Now my reaction, I understand that. I really do, because people feeling helpless want a higher power. But I thought is maybe I could share a little bit from the Jewish tradition about how religion might guide us. And let me say fairly, there's lots of other viewpoints out there, and I'm struck some religious authorities have come up with the idea of this is God's punishment for our sin. There's even, I came across a New Age pagan version of that, namely that Gaia, the goddess of nature, is lashing back at us for polluting and for abusing the planet. Other religious leaders, and I speak much more modestly, and I personally feel modesty is very much in order at this moment. They speak not of explaining, but of silence and of wrestling with the affliction that we all feel of innocent suffering and death in a world of a loving God. How do we deal with that? And perhaps saying that we have to help people adjust to the fact that death is inescapable and not to react with despair, but rather with solidarity and helping each other. But the truth is, I would like to explore an alternative in which religion is our guide to how do we take action? How do we overcome this evil rather than adjust and comfort? And that's a thought that I would be happy to share with you, but I think, and that's why I'm so excited by Call to Unite, because it seems to me you're saying, don't just sit there and suffer, let's do something together. What I would say is this, What I would say with this is, in the biblical tradition, there are sources that say God sends natural catastrophes to punish people for their wrong behavior. But one of the great insights of the rabbinic tradition that carries on the Bible and modulates it, one of its great insights is that that's not the way God operates anymore. The rabbis say that God has self-limited to increase human freedom and to call people humans to take up partnership and greater responsibility. So we're not going to be punished and forced into doing good. Rather, God has created a natural order. It's a natural order with natural laws, and it operates objectively. And the truth is, it does not distinguish between innocent and guilty. And COVID-19 does not differentiate. It attacks a natural predator, attacks all humans indiscriminately. But, say the rabbis, since creation is unfinished, since it has flaws, it has evil, human as well as natural, God is asking us to become partners in repairing the world and overcoming its flaws. Now, the good news is that while God is not going to push us and force us to do good, and maybe the age of biblical miracles, when God saves us from evil forces by all kinds of miracles and we have done nothing, but that's over, say the rabbis. The replacement is what we stand with today, which is that we have to take responsibility, and we can together, in fact, overcome death. What does that mean? Personally, I start with that. What's the religious response to this moment? The answer is we have to take all those steps. We have to develop the rituals. What does God ask of me? The ritual now is washing my hands, taking all the actions that prevent sickness, that fight coronavirus. So this is a religious obligation. This is the way I do God's will, because God wants us to have life, to choose life, and to save life. So washing the hands religiously, and no fooling around, or wearing a mask, or most painful, social isolation as a form of protecting life. That is our religious calling. And at that moment, when we do that, we are not only becoming partners, we're becoming part of the solution as well as the problem.
Thank you, Yitz. That's quite powerful. Thank you. We're grateful for your positioning this kind of very complex social, spiritual, emotional, theological question in this larger context. I heard an echo of Tikkun Olam, to be repairers, to be healers. We're so grateful that you joined us from Jerusalem. We're so grateful for your lifetime of work in this pursuit.
Thank you so much, and keep up your great work. And
thank you.
The transformation and the repair of the world starts with will and goodwill of people everywhere.
Thank you. Rabbi Yitz Greenberg. Thank you.